Hey, welcome to Let's Talk About Us. Sorry for the late video today. Had some car troubles and things pop up, but we're here. Let's dive in. Today, we are looking at Google's lucrative ad tech business goes on trial. Google's in trouble. Monopolies. All the monopolies. This is written by Lily Jamali for BBC News. BBC News has 2 central ratings and a lean left rating, as well as 3 high factuality ratings. The US government is taking aim at the engine of Google's immense wealth, its extremely lucrative ad tech business. A trial beginning on Monday will hear the Department of Justice's case that the search engine's parent company, Alphabet, illegally operates a monopoly in the market. The company earned more than $200 billion last year through the placing and selling of ads seen by internet users. Alphabet has argued its success is due to the effectiveness of its services, but prosecutors say it has used its market dominance to stifle rivals. It is a really important industry that grabs billions of consumer dollars every year, said Laura Phillips Sawyer, a professor at the University of Georgia School of Law. I think all consumers have an interest in this litigation. It is the second major antitrust case the tech giant has faced in the US. In August, a judge ruled its dominance of search was illegal, with the penalties Google and Alphabet will face as a result of that decision so far unclear. According to the lawsuit filed by the Department of Justice and a coalition of states in 2023, Google dominates the digital ad marketplace and has leveraged its market power to stifle innovation and competition. Google, meanwhile, contends it is just one of several hundred companies that facilitate the placement of digital ads in front of consumers. It argues that competition in the digital ad space is growing, not contracting, citing increasing ad growth and revenues for companies such as Apple, Amazon, and TikTok, as proof in a blog post responding to the DOJ's lawsuit in 2023. Okay, so I think what Google is trying to argue here is literally just, well, I mean, everyone uses Google, so like, we're not a monopoly, we're just helping, right? It's fine, don't worry about it, don't look at us. Please stop looking at us. Both sides will present their cases to U.S. District Judge Liani Brinkema, who is expected to deliver a verdict. The bench trial comes on the heels of a landmark decision last month in a different monopoly case brought by the Justice Department against Google. Judge Amit Mehta, that's funny. Judge Amit Mehta ruled that Google acted illegally to squelch competition in its online search business. Google is a monopolist and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly, he wrote. During last year's trial, Google said it dominated online search because it had a better product, and the company is seemingly deploying a similar defense in the ad tech case. When asked for a statement, it referred the BBC to its 2023 blog post, in which it states that no one is forced to use our advertising technologies. They choose to use them because they're effective. When's the last time you used a search engine other than Google? And not because like Google is the best, but just because it was right there, seemingly already downloaded. Already right there. Almost like there's some backroom deals going on. Judge Mehta, no relationship to the Facebook Meta, held a status conference on Friday as he begins the process of deciding on remedies for Google's conduct. The DOJ clearly had a big win, and they're going to ride that momentum, Dan Ives, managing director at Wedbush Securities, told the BBC. Now, I looked into this. You can look into this as well. Wedbush Securities is a marketing, big sort of like money moving agency. They essentially they deal with massive clients and basically help money get moving around. So this is a money mover, a professional money mover talking here. He said he expects those remedies to involve business models tweaks, not a breakup of the company. Pity. Meanwhile, in Justice Brinkema's courtroom, the arcane process that governs advertising technology could make the DOJ's attempts to prove its case an uphill climb. We all use search. We all intuitively understand that product, said Rebecca Hall Allensworth, an antitrust professor at Vanderbilt University Law School.
By comparison, advertising technology is so complex that I think that's going to be a real challenge for the government to make a clear, simple monopolization argument here. This will get a lot less one-sided in the next article. The BBC did leave some interesting tidbits out, which is interesting for a central-rating source. The US is not the only country where regulators are unhappy with Google's ad tech business. On Friday, the UK Competition and Markets Authority said it believed Google was abusing its dominance in the ad tech industry, according to the findings of its initial investigation. It said it found that Google used anti-competitive practices to dominate the market for online advertising technology, and the potentially unlawful behavior could be harming thousands of UK publishers and advertisers. A Google representative said the decision was based on a flawed understanding of the ad tech sector. Okay. I would respect this type of argument a lot more if we were talking to Congress. If we were talking to the people in Congress, then this argument would be the same thing that TikTok used. But however, this is against the DOJ. The DOJ is constantly fluctuating, constantly filled with younger and younger people. This argument is garbage. Like, sorry, Google, this is not a claim you can make. However, what I said earlier, we're going to go over Associated Press. Associated Press leans left, has 2 left leanings, although it does have a center rating. Very high factuality rating, as well as its independent media. Supposedly, right? Always keep your eyes and ears open. They kind of go over a lot of the same things in this article. This one is written by Matthew Barakat, and it was actually written today. Cool. So they start going into it. I want to find the parts that are different in here. The regulators contend that Google built, acquired, and maintains a monopoly over the technology that matches online publishers to advertisers. Dominance over the software on both the buy side and the sell side of the transaction enables Google to keep as much as 36 cents on the dollar when it brokers sales between publishers and advertisers, the government contends in court papers. Now, there's another important part that BBC left out. Revenue has actually declined in recent years for Google Networks, the division of the Mountain View, California-based tech giant that includes such services as AdSense and Google Ad Manager that are at the heart of the case, from $31.7 billion in 2021 to $31.3 billion in 2023, according to the company's annual reports. So that means they lost what, like 400 million, right? If I'm reading that correctly, they lost 400 million, which, I mean, like to Google, it's a drop, you know? I'm not sure I get why you would include something like this without, because they never reference this again in the article. I think maybe they're just trying to give like Google the benefit of the doubt. The trial that began Monday in Alexandria, Virginia, over the alleged ad tech company monopoly was initially going to be a jury trial, but Google maneuvered to force a bench trial. Now, if you're unfamiliar, a bench trial and a jury trial, a bench trial is just the judge. You are literally only having the judge there. No other witnesses, no other people except for the parties involved. Jury trial is what you get like called up to jury duty for. And people, like regular everyday people, can hear the information and decide the verdict. Writing a check to the federal government for more than $2 million to moot the only claim brought by the government that required a jury. So, essentially what we have here is Google literally paying the government off in the form of $2 million, which again, nothing for Google, to make this trial go to the bench, only the judge. What it also does is it makes it incredibly easy for a company like Google to, I don't know, maybe bribe the judge maybe get their fingers in their pocket. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but it sure makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Only one person? Who knows? Who knows? The case will now be decided by U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema, who was appointed to the bench by former President Bill Clinton and is best known for high-profile terrorism trials, including that of September 11th defendant Zacarias Moussaoui. Brinkema, though, also has the experience with highly technical civil trials, working in a courthouse that sees an outsized number of patent infringement cases. So the judge handling this knows their shit. Like, they know what they're doing. This is kind of important to note too. This is actually the second time Google has gone to trial. They lost the first case. The Virginia case comes on the heels of a major defeat for Google over its search engine, which generates the majority of the company's $307 billion in annual revenue. A judge in the District of Columbia declared the search engine a monopoly, maintained in part by tens of billions of dollars Google pays each year to companies like Apple to lock in Google as the default search engine presented to consumers when they buy their iPhones and other gadgets. So this is what I was referencing earlier. That thing where like, oh man, isn't that kind of great? Google's already installed. So convenient, right? Oh wait, that's illegal. There needs to be some choice in the matter. The customer needs to have some choice. Shouldn't just be thrust on you to start with. In that case, the judge has not yet imposed any remedies. The government hasn't offered its proposed sanctions, though there could be close scrutiny over whether Google should be allowed to continue to make exclusivity deals that ensure its search engine is consumers' default option. Google extracted extraordinary fees at the expense of the website publishers who make the open internet vibrant and valuable, government lawyers wrote in court papers. As publishers generate less money from selling their advertising inventory, publishers are pushed to put more ads on their websites, to put more content behind costly paywalls, or to cease businesses altogether. And that kind of ties back into that point that was made earlier, where Google not only controls the sell side of things, but they also control the purchasing side of things. So no matter where the money's coming from, they're getting a piece. And they're cutting out the people who should also be getting pieces of that money as they're doing. Google says the government's case is improperly focused on display ads and banner ads that load on web pages accessed through a desktop computer and fails to take into account consumers' migration to mobile apps and the boom in ads placed on social media sites over the last 15 years. Okay, so this is again Google trying to play up that the TikTok debacle that happened in Congress a while back. Google is attempting to tap into that same energy and be like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. This is just like Congress. It's not just like Congress. This is a completely different part of the government, which is constantly hiring new people, constantly updating who they have, constantly updating the stuff that they're required to have to be a part of the DOJ. So no Google. Again, wrong argument. And I did think that this last section of the article was kind of important and kind of interesting too. Listen to this. The government's case focuses on a limited type of advertising viewed on a narrow subset of websites when user attention migrated elsewhere years ago, Google's lawyers wrote in a pre-trial filing. The last year, users spent more time accessing websites on the open web rather than on social media, videos, or apps was 2012. So that's not what is at stake here, Google. That's not what they're trying to argue here, what they're trying to get you for. This is, again, almost the same tactic, but in a different way. They're, again, trying to distract from the issue by painting the government as this outdated, outmoded, not knowing what they're talking. It's like that tech bro that you've met who, like, whenever they talk to you, they don't talk to you as if you understand. They talk to you as if you're a child. And they're like, well, this is how you do this, and this is how you do... Like, Google is filled with these morons, okay? So we'll see what happens with that. The trial, which is expected to last several weeks, is taking place in a courthouse that rigidly adheres to traditional practices, including a resistance to technology in the courtroom. Cell phones are banned from the courthouse, to the chagrin of a tech press corps accustomed to the District of Columbia trial to tweeting out live updates as they happen. Even the lawyers, and there are many on both sides, are limited in their technology. At a pretrial hearing Wednesday, Google's lawyers made a plea for more than the 2 computers each side is permitted to have in the courtroom during trial. Burkina rejected it. This is an old-fashioned courtroom. Now, this, admittedly, not a good look for the government, right? This only serves to help Google's whole avenue of attack here, with painting the government as not knowing what they're talking about. I mean, it's her courtroom. She can run it how she wants, but not helping the case, right? The last article is from Fox Business. Completely leans right. Honestly, I think with 3 lean rights, you can just say they're a right-leaning news source. They have a mixed factuality rating. They are owned by the Fox Corporation as well as the Murdoch family. With them, the only thing that's different in their article is the phrasing of the title. Everything, and by the way, they covered this story, but I'm going to scroll down for about 5 seconds here, and oh, it's already over. Like, Fox, come on, man. At least come up with some, crazy story where you try to defend Google and pretend like you're not trying to defend Google. But anyway, it is interesting that the Fox Business article says Google faces another DOJ antitrust lawsuit over alleged ad tech monopoly. Makes you that word, that alleged word, does that inspire confidence that this is a monopoly? No. It immediately paints the story as, oh, the government's at it again. The government's trying to break up the monopolies again, only they'll never admit it's a monopoly because Fox Business, again, is owned by who? The Fox Corporation and the Murdoch family? Yeah. They're pretty good friends with people who own monopolies and big businesses. Yeah, they're not going to be in the business of pursuing monopoly breakups and things like that. I can't remember. Was there anything different? Was there anything different in your coverage? Oh, yeah. The first paragraph. Google is set to face its second antitrust trial since September 23rd against the Department of Justice on Monday. This time over its, again, they're going to use the same word here, alleged monopolistic power in the ad tech industry. This just goes into the thing. For Google, their ad tech service revenue accounts for 77% of their total earnings. The tech giant brought in a total of $307 billion in 2023, but $237 billion of that was produced through Google's advertising services, according to Google's annual revenue report. Almost like they're already installed in everything. Almost like they're a monopoly. Thanks, Fox Business. Thank you for confirming that for me. Let's see. This is coming as a judge ruled in August that Google created a monopoly in the search engine space, forcing their competitors such as DuckDuckGo, Bing, and Yelp to deal with anti-competitive practices. In a failing argument, Google claimed their search engine was such a superior product and they shouldn't be held responsible for their competitors' inferior practices, which is a similar argument they are expected to make in this upcoming hearing. I will give credit to Fox here. This right here doesn't help the case that things like Fox Business are trying to make, right? This doesn't help them. It paints the picture in a bad way. So that anyone who's actually reading this article, even if they're like relatively conservative, might pause to think for a minute. Might pause to say, wait, what? You never know. In the court filings, the DOJ argued Google forced key competitors to abandon the market for ad tech tools, dissuaded potential competitors from joining the market, and left Google's few remaining competitors marginalized and unfairly disadvantaged. Google's response to these claims in the expected arguments, they will argue that this lawsuit is a backward-looking case and out of touch with reality. Again, painting that same picture, trying to use the you don't know what you're talking about tech bro defense. In addition to that, what they're also doing by sort of, again, and I'm surprised Fox Business did this. I'm surprised they included this. Because again, anyone who's reading this article who has, more than 3 brain cells to rub together will be able to look at this and be, what do they mean, dissuaded potential competitors from joining the market? What do they mean, left the remaining competitors marginalized and unfairly disadvantaged? Because now what you've done is you've had the person reading this go, oh, well, wait a minute. And they go over to Google or whatever search engine they have and say, what is this? What is this talking about? What is this referencing? It inspires the brain a bit more than a normal Fox Business article usually does. So it is interesting. Who is this written by? Who wrote this? Kevin Gora. Okay. The rest of the information for the Fox Business article, that the very short amount of information that there is the same stuff we've been covering. So, this has been Let's Talk About Us. What's your thoughts, opinions on this? If a lot of this just went over your head, that's fine. But look into it. Look into the Google monopoly case. Look into the one that happened last year. If you really want to, I believe any trial involving the government is usually public record. So you might actually just be able to find the whole transcript of the original trial. If you're really that interested. I don't really deal a lot with the business side of things when it comes to politics and news and whatnot, mainly because I don't have a mind for that kind of information. It doesn't excite me as much as the politics that are surrounding people do. But this has been Let's Talk About Us. I'm Zach, and hopefully tomorrow your video will arrive first thing in the morning and not at almost 6 p.m. You guys have a great day.